Addis Ababa, home to more than 3 million people and the busy capital of Ethiopia, a country 4 times larger than the UK, with over 90 million inhabitants. 8 of 10 are sustained by the agricultural sector, which produces oil crops, coffee, tea and tubers.
What is the name of the volcano?
A pearl string of lakes lies in the Great Rift Valley, which crosses the country diagonally. The lake shores of Lake Langano are lined with old-growth forests. In a stark contrast to the surrounding arid landscape, mighty trees form a lush canopy that shelters a multitude of species, from hornbills to humans. They are linked together in a delicate network of life forms, interacting with each other in age-old cycles of birth and death. The Rift Valley floor lies 1,600 meters above sea level, separating the Abyssinian and Somali highlands, which rise up to an elevation of more than 4,000 meters. Although the Rift Valley is geologically very active, the lakes have been here for thousands of years. The nutrient-rich alkaline waters sustain a lush vegetation belt that nourishes a spectacular diversity of life, especially plants and birds. However, only few species of the familiar East African fauna still live here. The Rift Valley ecosystem has been balanced for ages, yet in the past 100 years, the numbers and impact of one species have exploded: man. Growing at more than 2% per year, the number of Ethiopians will double in less than 30 years. Today, the surrounding Rift Valley landscape is heavily cultivated, and its fauna is all but gone. Driving up into the Bale Mountains in the southern Ethiopian highlands, the human impact is less visible. Juniper Hegenia woodlands alternate with pastures on the lower slopes. But things are changing here too. Before the 1960s, there were no permanent settlements here, just seasonal pastoralism. Today, grazing lands are becoming scarce, and agriculture is claiming higher and higher elevations, straight into Bale Mountains National Park.
It's pretty clear.
This is where a small team of 4 tourists is being led by conservation biologist and Oxford professor Claudio Sigero, who has been pivotal to protecting the Bale Mountains ecosystem for the past 25 years. We step into this unique landscape in the northwestern section of the park, where the Web River drops over the Fincha Habera cliff.
Go swimming in gelid water, so we can't be less than them, can we?
No.
So we'll be here tomorrow morning.
I wanted to ask you...
At sunrise, right?
I wanted to ask you about...
Although the area is protected, Oromo cattle farmers and herdsmen are allowed to continue living in the park. Horse riding is the way of getting around here. For a start, we take it a little easier. Claudio Sigero is a top expert on the Afro-Alpine habitat. He has devoted much of his professional life to studying the rarest canid in the world, the Ethiopian wolf. In fact, without him, this unique species might not have survived the manifold threats it faces. It is Claudio's Ethiopian Wolf Conservation Program, EWCP, which keeps it alive. Of course, saving the Ethiopian wolf also protects many of Ethiopia's endemic species and natural resources. The group gathers in Sodota camp, where it meets program manager Idris Ebu and senior field assistant Ala Hussein. We even spot the first wolf.
I'm Bale, the wild wolf from Bale Mountains.
You should maybe take off your tag.
No, this is Dr. Claudio who tagged me.
Sodota Camp is our starting point for checking out wolf dens in the Webb Valley. The first den we see is at the foot of a small ridge. The entrance looks like any other set of rocks in the vicinity. The spot is well chosen. The nearby grasslands abound with the holes of Blix grass rats, endemic rodents that are an important prey for raptors and Ethiopian wolves, but they're not easy to surprise. Even more important to the wolves is the giant mole rat, another rodent found here and nowhere else on the planet. It is the giant mole rat around which Ethiopian wolves built their very existence. The rodents, in turn, live on the Afro-alpine vegetation, some of which looks familiar to us. The giant lobelias certainly don't. Their wooden stem reminds that of a giant cactus, but they actually belong to a genus of bellflowers. Giant lobelias are the only species grown to tree size in this unforgiving climate where, at 3,500 meters above sea level, summer heat during the day and winter frost at night alternate within a span of 24 hours.
Und dann haben wir einen Giant Mole Rat gesehen. Sieht aus wie ich. Auch gerade da oben.
Und hat er also ist er also clownmässig geschminkt?
Ja, sicher. Hat er so ein weißes Maul. Man kann so einen Opsi-Maul machen und gau.
Roads in the Bali Mountains are few and far between, and none of them links the Webb Valley to our goal, the top of the Bali Mountains. We will soon have to change from off-road cars to horsepower. The pack mules and horses approaching Sodota need no encouragement. They know that they will soon get a mouthful of barley. The pigeons that hang around camp clean up after the meal. The African grey flycatcher waits for insects brought to the surface by a giant mole rat's burrowing activity. In exchange, the bird's eye view offers an efficient early warning system against approaching predators. Unlike true mole rats, this guinea pig-sized endemic rodent mostly forages above ground, eating grasses and herbs. In this seemingly empty landscape, large herbivores are scarce. The main animal biomass is underground. There is as much rodent protein here as gazelle protein in other African regions, 2,000 to 3,000 kilograms per square kilometer. For a mid-sized social carnivore such as the Ethiopian wolf, specializing on rodents is a clever solution for surviving here, probably the only solution. But there is a downside. Prey is confined to a few isolated mountain ranges which can sustain only few wolves. This species was rare to begin with. Now it has become super rare. Less than 500 survive. Add a bit of bad luck, rabies or canine distemper, and the population can crash by 25% or more in a single year. The successful specialization of this unusual canid is never far from a dead end, literally. Ethiopian wolf packs can comprise up to a dozen animals. This one is just a single pair, with 3 or 4 pups in a den, well hidden in the erica shrubs. The wolves usually hunt alone, but meet between hunting patrols and rest together at night. Having checked on his mate, the male leaves her to guard the pups, while he is off to gather more food. In a pack, everyone would contribute for the offspring, but recent outbreaks of rabies and canine distemper have reduced the population to precarious levels. It can recover as young adults take over orphan territories, but disease is just one threat to their existence. The Webb Valley may look idyllic, primordial, but the local population increases rapidly, and subsistence agriculture is encroaching ever more on the Afro-alpine habitat. The best spots for agriculture are the deep soils, those used by the rodents which the wolves hunt. Cattle overgraze the plains, competing with the rodents. With the livestock come domestic dogs which attack wolves, hybridize with them, and spread deadly diseases. It's an old conflict, man's needs against those of the wild. It comes down to a simple question: what's more important, finding new land for local families or protecting this wilderness? What is the value of wilderness? What is the weight of an Ethiopian wolf compared to the needs of an Ethiopian child? What would your answer be if you were the child? But that's a wrong question. We must ask instead, what benefits both the child and the wolf? In other words, how can you turn wilderness into an asset for subsistence farmers? From these highlands you can squeeze some vegetables and tubers that feed some more families for a while, until before long all suitable areas have been converted into farmland. Or you can sell their beauty to tourists, again and again. To tourists like the four of us, sitting in luxury cars, come from far-flung places just to see this unique ecosystem and its flagship species, the Ethiopian wolf. To us, wilderness is one of the key assets this country has. To keep it, all you need to do is leave it alone. But the Bali Mountains are not left alone. While much of the national park appears untouched, farmers expand agriculture in the park. They compete for the few areas with good soils. This will lead to conflicts, first between people and rodents, then people and wolves, and then people and people. Agriculture doesn't fit here. There is a reason why few large herbivores live here. There is a reason why Ethiopian wolves have specialized on small prey. Nature had lots of time to figure out the maximum carrying capacity of this habitat. It's grasslands, sustaining lots of rodents, which sustain a few raptors and Ethiopian wolves. Farming adds little value to this unique landscape, but the charismatic wolves in their colorful coats do. To tourists, they are a perfect attraction, a precious asset indeed. That's how wolves can feed people. Giant mole rats would attract few people, yet they are the cornerstone on which the wolves built their existence. Occurring in densities of up to 2,600 per square kilometer, they are a key species in Afro-alpine ecology, soil formation, and movement. Weighing up to 600 grams, they're also rewarding prey. Ethiopian wolves prefer open grass and heathlands with deep soils that allow their prey to burrow. A wolf pack will share and defend an exclusive territory whose size reflects habitat quality, that is, available rodent biomass. But the giant mole rat is not easy to catch. It limits its time above ground to 1 hour a day, hastily collecting herbs and grasses before retreating and blocking the tunnel from the inside. And then it can be anywhere in a den covering 360 square meters. Plus, it has acute senses and is extremely cautious. But it can oversee only a small area and sometimes overlooks a wolf stalking it. That's a happy meal for the wolf and doom for the mole rat, another rare and endangered Bale endemic. In the Gorasanga area, our group makes a test hike followed by a test ride. Some of us are mildly euphoric.
Ich tue einen Rock Hyrex filmen.
Das ist ein Rock Hyrex Film?
Ja.
Ja, ist ganz zertifiziert. Schon aus dem Bild gut.
Nein, das ist noch drin.
Ist noch drin? Ist immer noch drin? Filmen.
Shall I take her? Shall I take her? Do you usually ride silently or do you sometimes sing on your horse?
No, I am riding all the time.
Oh, okay. I sometimes sing on the horse. How about you, Claudio?
I can't sing.
You can. That solves the problem.
The test ride will last about 2 hours, a third of the distance we will cover a few days later. It is meant to ensure everyone venturing on the trek is truly comfortable on a horse. For the terrain won't be easy and the saddles will be hard. At the elevation, which increases from camp to camp, from 3,000 to almost 4,400 meters above sea level, this part of the trek requires some tenacity.
Dat is schwierig, hè?
Yeah.
Horse trek in Bale Mountain National Park.
So what's your horse name?
My horse name? Brownie.
Brownie. It's incorrect.
No!
It's called Dama.
Dat meet Brownie. Tomorrow, I think. Or
Shoki, hast du gesagt.
Shoki.
And here comes Dr. Sierra.
Picture.
You are still in the picture. Everyone's in the picture.
Chucky and Toblerone.
Yeah. See, these parts will be fun as well.
Pero esa mata brota jira ka kurang ka ba mata brota narafun. Pardon pe akura. Pardon ni kora.
The next morning is the moment of truth. We break camp for the first section from Sodota to Keirensa. The horses are small and lightly built. They are being saddled up for us as they are trained differently than our own. Our usual commands are rather useless here and can actually spook the horse. Then we're off, trying hard to keep up with the pace of Senior Field Assistant Alo Hussein.
This is the famous Alo on his horse.
Around noon we spot a breeding pair of wolves fighting a dog. They can chase it off, but both get bitten. After a short break, Burka brings our horses, tied together Ethiopian style. Big-hearted Burka is our tutor on this trip. Alo is an expert in Ethiopian wolf ecology and knows the details of every pack here.
When we were at lunch, there was a...
The terrain is difficult. We are stunned to see how the horses manage this trail challenge.
Yeah.
Alo, hardened by many hours outdoors monitoring wolf packs to record scientific data, keeps a steady pace on foot.
It's very hard.
It's hard.
Across this one.
Where is camp? Here. Oh. On the
But we have been fast, arriving at Kerensa camp well before the trek of pack horses. Our horses have called it a day and enjoy the pasture. We enjoy the helichrysum blooming around the pass at 3,800 meters. Popular as dried flowers, they are an index species of the Afro-alpine habitat. The trek of pack horses arrives. 15 horses, heavily loaded with camp gear, walk in with their escort of camp staff. We wouldn't need that much, but surely the income comes handy for everyone lending a hand or a horse.
Aber jetzt erzähl mal, du bist jetzt mit dem Jeep hier raufgefahren und wo sind wir überhaupt?
Also wir sind da Carenza Camp, wenn ich es richtig sage. Und wir sind nicht mit dem Jeep hochgefahren, sondern mit dem 4x4 Pferd hochgeritten.
Das glaube ich nicht.
Doch.
Kannst du das beweisen?
Da unten sind sie. Und jetzt kommt gerade der Trupp mit dem Packpferd, mit den Zelten und so. Ja.
Wegen Coca-Cola?
Ja.
Ja, aber das gehört schon dazu, oder?
Nein, das ist jetzt
Having soft drinks, showers and 2 toilet seats up here wouldn't be our first thought, but who knows what spoilt Westerners might want. And we definitely enjoy